Good evening, everyone. Mackie here, and the flock of sheep of the news that we provided from Sheep Esports have been a little bit um, dull in this week. There's some player interviews, some stand-ins, some reviews of some games. The only significant news from the whole thing in the last week is Cavs being re-signed to G2. That is significant. Significant not only from an LEC standpoint, because Caps is like the biggest face of the LEC pretty much ever, and the most decorated mid laner to ever grace the LEC ever. But for G2 as well, he is the face of their team. No one else like it. And I think it's important from the marketing standpoint, and you're going to hear that word a lot throughout this video. It's important for the marketing value of Caps and G2 that both of these teams will have to interlink each other. And not only is gameplay is important for them and its brain, of course, but most importantly, the marketability. When you see G2, you think of Caps. That's basically it. Without Caps, I don't think G2 would never exist. Now, G2 as a team can exist, but right now in this era, right, of co-streaming and marketability, you gotta need a face for a team. That the first name you see on that logo is the first player that comes up. When I think of T1, I think of Faker. When I think of G2, I see of Caps. When I think of, like, let's just say, um, 2020 Dumb One Gaming, I think of Nuguri or Showmaker. And that's the most important thing. He is their cornerstone of the franchise. And for G2 to lock him up, it's a significant deal for not only the LEC, for himself, but also for G2 as well. Making sure that he's locked up so that they can have a secure future. But that will also come as a little bit of, warning, of course. He is signing for 2 years. What will happen afterwards? What if his gameplay has been diminished? He's still like a pretty decent mid laner, but if you look at what's currently right now, Vladi is better than him. That's it. I think Vladi is better than him. But what if other mid laners comes up and knock him down? And if you're a G2, you must have to think about the future, because it's not like LCK is like you keep Faker for like 3, 4, 5 years and then you have to build a future right now. The LEC is a cutthroat competition that if you perform badly, that's it. Your entire career is done. So while this deal is incredible for G2 and for LEC and all the kind of stuff, I just have that feeling of, do G2 have a Caps replacement in case the 2 years are done, or in case his play style or his playing it's not up to par with the best? That would be a question for the future, but for right now, that's a huge significant deal. So he'll be locked in until 2027, and I think that's a huge deal. And if you are a G2 general manager, because I think right now G2 are not the best team in Europe by a mile. It's basically a K-Corp, Fnatic some days, Mad Koi kind of era of LEC. And G2 can say they become the second, third best team at least, which is fine. And they can bounce back and win the whole thing. But it's not about the LEC that's worried about. It's about, like, can they compete internationally? And since they didn't make the first stand, although you could say the first stand is just not the most important tournament with everything, the MSI Worlds are going to be like the be and end all. So for G2, it's like you gotta lock him in for the next couple of years, because if he's gone, holy cow, I don't think G2 will be like the same team, marketable wise and also playing wise, in order to compete and to win. So lockout counts. It's a huge significant moment for them and for Europe. So congratulations on your 2-year deal. Hope it bodes well. So not much news to talk about, but there has been 2 huge waves of news that has been hidden the whole thing for the last couple of years. Well, three if you count like, the season of Ionia and all kind of stuff. But I'm gonna talk about like the esports general about it. I think we have to touch on this point that is closer to my home. Well, I'm actually closer to Florida, but it's kind of close to my home. Like North America up there, Central America at the sides, South America down there. So it's kind of close there. And I feel like I have been screaming the "I told you so" button so many times. I uploaded a video last year talking about the LTA being an absolute disaster, from the naming to merging the whole region to like the formats and all kinds of stuff. And the video is still on, but my God, every single day that the LTA is falling apart, it just makes my video feeling righter and righter. Now, does my video have any more views? No, it's not the most viewed video ever, but I put that thing as a point. And my point is that the LTA has now officially become the new Coke of League. Now, Hakeem, you must be thinking, what's that? New Coke? Alright, gather around, children. It's time for me to tell you a little bit of history lesson. Back in the 1980s, Coca-Cola was the most popular soft drink ever. It has a brand that people know about, a logo, the taste, the familiarity. It has everything that is going for them. And I was thinking to myself, yes, sales have been down just a little bit, marketability has not been great, but it's still there. It happens. Businesses go up and down most of the time. Things happen. And then I'm just gonna hear some noise. And then Pepsi came along and trying to, like, let's just say, wreck the competition in most cases. They were challenging Pepsi on the demographic front, especially youths and all this kind of stuff. Okay. They were challenging Sorry, the noise outside kind of distracted me. I'm gonna go off. This is uncut, so let me just finish. Pepsi trying to challenge Coca-Cola in the soda wars for demography, especially for the young kids. As sodas, as you all know, are not as healthy to the general public as many people would be. To be fair, that's pretty much a fact in these cases. Pepsi was... Alright, my phone is charged. Pepsi was dominating the demographic. So does Coke, and Coca-Cola is in real trouble, like really, really in big trouble right now. They do not look great, and they have to do something. It's one of two ways. You stay the course, you don't do anything much, and unfortunately, Pepsi will overcome you and dominate you, and they'll become the big soft drink for like the 80s, the 90s, and maybe forever, of course. Or you get bold and decide to change the whole thing, throw out the originality in it, and change the whole thing for the sake of, like, change. So, back in 85, they changed the flavor. They put in some different stuff, and some of the consumers kind of like it, of course. And then they revealed that they are shipping away the original Coke, the Coke that has been drank upon, liked upon, known about for hundreds and hundreds of years, in favor of a new Coke. And at the time, you must be thinking to myself, okay, it's fine. But, give it a week or two, and it'll be like pretty well done. The bad part about it is that everybody hates it. And when I mean everybody hates it, I mean every single person hates New Coke. They just hate it. Because it's not the same Coke that they drink like hundreds of years ago. It kind of feels like it's a betrayal, especially for Southern people who, by the way, Coca-Cola was based in a stout, It just an act as a betrayal. And a few years later, after so much people's sentiment and hatred and angst about it, they decided to bend the knee towards the people and get rid of the new Coke, slowly but surely, and just bring back the original Coke, which is right now we see today. Now, the problem with new Coke, it's not of like changing the flavors and all this kind of stuff and the whole thing. And I think some people say that the new Coke is fine-ish in my opinion. In some opinion, I never listen. It was in the '80s. I was never around when they drink new Coke. But if they were to do that, they could have, done a little bit of, marketability. There goes that word again. You're going to hear that a lot. If they would have market the thing better, if they would have do the little bit of, manipulation in the marketing and all kinds of stuff. They have Bill Cosby, of course, but that was that was a weird time back then. They were fine, but half they would have approached this a little bit better. I think New Coke would have been bad, but it would not be as uproarious as many people think. Now, let's go back to 40 years ago today. I'm not saying that, Coca-Cola is like a riot are the same thing. But when you bring in a new product, you got to have to market this thing better. And right now, the sentiment around that competition is of nothing of horrible value. And I believe that is Riot's fault. Playing it right now. I think I don't know if Riot can see the absolute anger. I'm not saying anger, of course. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about that. They care about the money and the Saudis and all this kind of stuff. Fans, ugh. Screw the fans. Who cares? Here's the new skin, I guess. They don't care about that. They just care about like viewership numbers and all kinds of stuff. Well, let me just spoil you a little bit of truth. The viewership numbers from the first week of LTA Spring was abysmal. 68,000 viewership, which is like lower than spring last year, and was lower than the first split this year. So congratulations, you have officially tanked about 50% of your audience, or 60%, of course. Monte Cristo knew it was a bad idea. David, my friend David S., knew it was a bad idea. They did that crossover episode about talking about it and all this kind of stuff. They hated about it. And the guy is not dumb. He has 2 degrees and all kind of stuff. He went to Florida. Well, no, he went to NYU, of course. But he's more smarter than anybody else. I would have David run the LT. Even I cannot even spell the name. Even the LTA is a horrible name for me to say. The LCS it's a great name to say. It's a great name. It has the familiarity. It has the brand. It has the people. It has the marketability sometimes. And it has the familiarity to taste. Unfortunately for Riot, they are doing this because, one, competition with the LEC, which, let's be fair, you are never going to beat the LEC in terms of viewership and success, as we all know. When Carmen Corp made that first stand final, as Mickey Mouse of that tournament is, but when Team Liquid, the most prestigious team in the LTA, cannot even make finals, they already lost the plot, man. When they lost when they lost to like Flying Oyster, it's kind of like, what are we doing here? What are we achieving with this? But Akeem, at least you have a shot at winning Worlds. No, here's the thing. I don't think winning Worlds will do enough. I don't think that winning Worlds is going to do enough. The LCK can go fine without winning Worlds. The LPL will go fine without winning Worlds. If LEC win Worlds, that will change the narrative somehow. It would not change the LTA one iota about it. There is that word, marketability again. I feel like Riot has pretty much missed the mark on the marketability of their league by a country mile. The way they handle this whole situation is a failure on their part, and it's a failure on everybody else's part. But Mark Z is no. Mark Z was a boat without a paddle. He was on a boat, no paddle, in a rough current, going downhill. He pretty much screwed. He's got his hands tied behind his back from the whole jump. He can't do nothing. He can't do nothing about it. He's more like a puppet to Riot's situation right now. And the thing is that they could have marketed this thing better. Now, I'm not saying put it on billboards or, advertise this thing on television. No, they can't do that on this thing. But at least show something that people care. If you have a product, just put it out there. Put it out there for people to see. It may not be the best league in the world, but damn it, it will be like the most important thing. The problem is that they didn't. They fumbled the bag so egregiously. And that's not the only thing that's fumbling the bag. The players are not showing content. And that is leading to a downfall in marketability. Now, myself and some other content YouTubes don't have like the millions of viewers or the hundreds of thousands like your LTAs or the Lost Ratatonas, of course. But you know the difference between Lost Ratatonas and the LTA right now? Is that Lost Ratatonas actually have a marketability. They have some familiar faces. They have some content people and players that actually do well. Like your Reckless, your Bows, and all that kind of stuff. And you have Cajal, one of the most popular co-streaming fronts ever, with hundreds of millions of dollars he can throw in, and with his market, and with his likability, and all that stuff. It made Lost Ratatonas work. And look at them right now. Now, I guess Europe and all this other stuff is different. But the problem with the LTA, and it pretty much is that the players are not willing to sacrifice their gameplay, their success in order for content. Now, I think I can understand where the players are coming from. They care more about the winning and the championships rather than the content and putting your face off every day of the week for probably 7 days a week. That's only understandable. Listen, and that's kind of understandable in these cases. They don't want to show up their scrims because of competitive integrity, of course. They don't want to go on the camera because, of course, they have scrims and solo queue and all this kind of stuff. They don't want to do that. They don't want to put their face out there for marketability stake to just bring, some likability around the region that is not as great right now, that is not as healthy as many people seem. And I can understand why they don't want to do that. But in this era, when social media is a 24/7 healthy obsession, unhealthy consumption and obsession to many people, and even the President of the United States actually used social media, by God. When these things happen, you got to be there almost every single waking day. You got to show up and put your face in there. Now I don't put up social media stuff all the time. But I will tell you this, it is the most important aspects we have in our lifetime, and it's going to continue to have an impact, rightfully or wrongfully, towards these numbers. And unfortunately, these players don't want to do that, and it's suffering right now. Because how am I able to support 100 Thieves when you got some 100 Thieves content? How am I supposed to support you, Sniper, or or Yawn, or Quad, or Quid? How am I going to support those players? They don't, they don't have marketabilities. They don't have any kind of marketability at all. They're likable players, but where are the late night streams? Where are the content? Where are the likability, of course? Like, where do you listen? Say all you will about Whipple and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the guy is a marketability genius. He could talk all the crazy stuff he wants, but my God, you could just put a market on him and it will sell hotcakes. The problem is that I don't think the LTA players don't do that, and unfortunately, combined with Riot's mismanagement and combined with the players' content, you are getting a product that is just not as good as many people are used to be. And right now, they're suffering right now to the point of like, I am going to agree with David, and they should bring back the LCS. I know, it's not going to change a lot. I know bringing back the LCS is kind of like the same thing of bringing back Classic Coke, and then everybody would be like, yay, Classic Coke is back, forget everything about it, move on. I don't think that will work. But if you want to bring back the LCS, you got to have to change the whole thing. You got to have to start from scratch. And if I were the commissioner of a rebrand LCS, I will have to do so many things. So I will do the first thing. I will move the tournament. I will move the LCS from Los Angeles to anywhere else. Maybe Chicago, maybe New York, but anywhere but Los Angeles. The cost to do it is too high. The revenue, the broadcasting things, and the time. And listen, we have seen a lot of unemployed being left, right, and center. So instead of just listen, and unfortunately, to be fairly honest, the esports, it's not the most popular thing in Los Angeles right now. Los Angeles care about your Lakers, your Clippers, your Dodgers. Those are the teams they care about. Your LAFCs, your LA Galaxies, not the esports in these cases. So, I think my first role as LCS commissioner is to take the LCS out of Los Angeles, put it back, put it in Chicago, put it back in New York. I don't give a damn at what people saying about it's too cold, oh, it's not sustainable. No. I'm the commissioner. My word goes, and if you don't like it, F off. Just F off. My rules, my commissioners. Okay? Second thing I will do is to do something about the broadcast. Now, Captain Flowers, Azale, Kangas, Kobe, Emily Rand, Raz, all these are good people. But in the world of business right now, nice people finish last. Only aggressive people can conquer the world. That was a SpongeBob episode reference. What I'm saying is simple. I will change the broadcast completely. How do you change the broadcast completely? Well, I don't know. But you gotta have to involve the co-streamers into this. Think Spawn, who, by the way, is the coach of Team Liquid, which is weird. The coach of Team Liquid actually has some positive things to say about the broadcast. Like, what? Amazing. He realized the co-streaming is now a thing. And I think if you are Riot, and if I were the LCS commissioner, I will bring the co-streamers to broadcast. They have different takes. They will bring the personality. They will inject some fun. They will liven it up all stuff. And no, it will not be like the 500,000, 600,000 viewers. But if they can bring like 200, 300,000 viewers, that's a win. That's a win right now. That's a gigantic win, you know, for a region like this. It will be a gigantic win. It will not be the biggest win, but it'll be a gigantic win. It's better than nothing. It's better than 70,000 that we have right now. It's better than nothing. I will bring Dom. I will bring Miss Chim Chim. I will bring David, my boy David. I would bring Double Lift. I don't care what Double Lift says. I will bring him on the show. I would bring some streaming personalities and let them cook. I will let them cook. I will have Dom host the show, for God's sakes. I will have Dom host the show. I will have Miss Chim Chim doing some analysts. I will have Double Lift have his opinion. I will have, Captain Flowers commentating with one of the players. Maybe Whipple might join the casting group. That would be fun. Because if you mix the co-streaming and the personalities with a broadcast that has been stagnated and just freshen it up to liven it up and make it cool, then you will see the product being successful over time. In an era where co-streaming is popular and all kind of stuff, that is significant. That is huge. Next, and next I will make a format and stick to it. We have seen so many things being tossed around. And of course, we got so many things with Monday Night League, best of ones, best of threes, weekdays, weekends, and like, okay, if I were the commissioner of the LCS right now, I will take a format and do it like this. There's 8 teams right now. Maybe 7 if 100 teams were to leave. But let's just say we're 8 teams right now. I will put up a best of 3 format, double round robin, or single round robin if you do it, top 6 teams in a bracket, and that's it. No, nothing much. Or you could do a top 4 teams, and then you do a knockout stage, double elimination, and all that stuff. You can do that for the LTA South, of course. You can do that for the LTA South. Have top 4 teams from the LTA North and not the LTA, the LCS. Top 4 teams in the LCS play in the bracket stage, and then winner goes to thing, and that will be the format for the rest of the tournament. It's not much, but I think it's honest work. And I think the last thing I should do in the LCS commissioner is to not interfere with anything. Do not interfere with anything. Let the whole thing cook. Right now, I'm a Man United fan, and you see what Mr. Jim Radcliffe is doing with Man United, fingling and all that kind of stuff, cutting employees, bringing fruit and all kind of stuff. You know what Eric Cantona said? That he's ruining the club. When Eric Cantona, a crazy good footballer, by the way, said all these things, you know you're in trouble. Ownership and commissioners have to do 2 things. Build a team and just leave. Just don't do anything much unless it's an emergency, unless it's something really bad happens. And if I were commissioner, I will move the LCS from Los Angeles to Chicago, bring the co-streamers, give them all the money in the world. Let them have, listen, give them, fork them the money, and let them do everything they want. You can do whatever they want, no limits, no nothing. You have to be professional, of course, but you can do whatever you want. It's all yours. Your creativity and all that stuff, it's all yours. And then you make a format that is sustainable, and then you just leave. That's just 3 things. And of course you can, market the whole thing better. Put it on billboards. Put it on Times Square. Put it on the website. Put it on every single major advertisement. Have the players go on GMA or something. You know? You go to like Access Hollywood or Extra, of course. Now I know it's not that much, but it's better than nothing. It's better than sitting around and playing video games all day and not being like bigger than themselves. Like right now, Casual is like bigger than the LEC right now. The Lost Right Daytonas have more viewership than the LTA combined. Do you know how big that was? I will bet you $1 that if Casual's Lost Right Daytonas come to NA, they would have much of a bigger viewership than the LTA combined. Like K-Corp and Movistar Riders have now outgrown LEC by a country mile. And maybe they don't like it, but that's the reality we're living right now. And that's what marketability and putting your face out there can tell you. And that's why I feel like the whole LTA thing was a failure from the beginning. The way it's been marketed, the way it's been handled, the way it's been treated. Like the LTA Soul right now is doing fine right now, but even they are not liking this. Even they have to wear the LTA name like, wait, we have to wear their name? When we have like our own stuff? It's not fair. It's generally not fair. Will all of these things happen? Sadly, no. That's the worst part about it, is that they just, not saying Karen, but they just don't know the absolute disaster that is coming around them until it really lands on its feet. They saw that the whole thing was a problem. They saw the little cracks there, but they didn't realize how big of a problem until it kind of opens up the earth. And now they live with a huge mess that they have to clean up. And I don't think the LTA will last like a year. I don't think the LTA will last during this year. if LTA fails to do anything internationally, like MSI or even Worlds, it's over for them. You get the perception around the LTA and North America fans is that the perception of them is gone. Like 2022, when DRX and T1 and JDG and Gen G made it to the semifinals of Worlds, and there was no North American teams, and it was the worst North American performance. You thinking many people will be like, "Oh, no NA team in there. Guess I'm gonna go home right now." No, they show up. They actually show up in Georgia. They actually came to Georgia and show up and watch some good league. If the LTA or any North America League of Legends league kind of dies tomorrow morning, people don't care. Myself included, I would not even care less because of the way it been failed marketability, but also these people don't care about their own region's success. They wanted to care about theirs. Like David right now is a T1 fan. He loves 100 Thieves, but I can tell you one thing. If 100 Thieves leads, he'll be a full-fledged T1 fan tomorrow morning, no doubt about it. And that's the reality, of course. That is the sad, brutal reality of what this region has brought us. The region has brought us nothing but failure, but I would rather be of a failing region and market it better and be like, have our own identity than rather be a failure all around. And that's what this LTA has brought us. Nothing but failure every which way possible. So, I'm gonna tell Riot, and I know Riot cannot hear me because I'm just a small ass YouTuber with a 30 subscriber count and nothing too much. But I will probably send this video to Reddit, to X, not to probably any social media that I can find and tell them this. You have hurt the reputation of so many fans, so many people, and the people who have poured on the LCS and make it their own for years and years and years. And I think it's time for you, maybe not the first time, but maybe it is time for us to just realize that the LTA is just not working. It's not working for the brands, it's not working for the marketability, it's not working for the players, it's not working for the casters, it's not working for anything. And right now, I feel like it's time for you to bend the knee and just bring back the LCS. Maybe bringing the LCS is not going to bring everything back, and I understand that. But look at this. It's better than, like, this. And also, you have to bring co-streamers, and also you got to leave, and then after you've done everything, you just walk away. Just let it be. But also, you have to understand that North America League of Legends is just not as sustainable right now. It's not as successful, not as amazing as China or anybody else. And unfortunately, it's just left to rot. It is on a vegetative state. It's on its deathbed right now. It's on ICU for the last 3 or 4 years. Even COVID does not even bring those numbers up. It has been on ICU for the last 4 years. It's been a coma, for God's sakes. And the problem is that we wanted to keep it alive, but we just knew that we're reaching the last stage of grief, and we have to accept that it is what it is. Now, I know David and all these kind of boys, and I'm not ready to accept that the LTA is dead until it is fully dead and no longer be there, like Oceania or VCS or something. But they have to look at everything they have right now, the viewership, the sentimental from the fans, and everybody else. If one sanely Riot employee can look at all of this, and maybe look at the videos or the fans or everybody else, and maybe, I don't know, they don't care, but if they can look at all of this and realize, what the flip did I done? What the flip did we just do? And just realize, it ain't working. Let's just ride out the LTA next year. But unfortunately, we have to plan on how to fix everything. And also how to do things better. Because they can do better. Maybe you might need the Saudi money after all. I know it's not morally right, but maybe you might need it after all. Maybe you don't, but you better need to do something to fix this. Because as a person who's living close to North America, Central, and South, this really means something to me. It may not be the most incredible competition to watch. It may not have the international accolades as many people, but to them, the fans and everybody else, it means something. It means something to me. It means something to David. It means something to everybody else. And unfortunately, the way it's been treated, the way it has been marketed, and the way it has been brought out, it's a collective failure. A big collective failure on everybody's part. So, yeah, I think I want the LCS back. I'm like so many people. I want the LCS back. I don't care if LCS will lose any international tournament for the next 5 years. I just want a product that actually, like, it's something. If they're going to get embarrassed, at least embarrassed with some dignity or something. But unfortunately, this region has no dignity left. It's at nothing. Just none. So that is part number one in the whole thing. And I'm going on for 36 minutes. The second part is about the 6-man rosters. Now, the difference between... Now, unfortunately for the insane T1 fans, many people do not notice that Gumayushi, in the current meta right now, cannot do well with certain champions that Smash can do. And we are in an era that Fearless Drop is going to be a real thing. Maybe this year, maybe forever, but it's a real thing, and GMs and coaches are looking at this as we gotta have to train somebody up to, let them play certain champions they're good at and let people rest in case the time comes for that certain champion to pop up in pretty much big series, of course. Like FlyQuest have their 6-man in the top lane because Whipple is probably going to step back and do some coaching, which is ridiculous, but I said he was going to go for it. I can't wrong him. Oh my god. No, it's not the Buepo coaching that makes me a headache. It's the music that's going on right now. But the point is that Buepo's going to step aside and all this kind of stuff. And, that the new player going to come in trying to play some certain champions that he can play and all that kind of stuff, winning the meta. And maybe that will bring some competition, which is the most important thing. That'll be huge. So the FlyQuest side is kind of like the non-problem. The T1 side is... man. It's the whole thing is a mess. The whole situation is a mess from the beginning. And I'm just gonna say this right now. You fans are the worst fandom ever. Some of you, not all of you. Because you cannot handle simple basic logic. And I don't care if this video will get uploaded or downvoted on X by some Twitter, some T1 hatred. I don't care. I'm going to apply logic to all you dumb T1 fans out there to say this. Gumayushi, from a marketability standpoint and from a playing standpoint, is pretty much a good bot laner. But for Duran, who, by the way, you got after screwing up Zeus, and that's probably their fault, and that's probably Joe March's fault. He needs a carry jump. Oh, I'm getting mixed up. All right, fine. Let me just calm down. Duran, the top laner, who you got from the bot Zeus deal that you never got to re-sign, wanted to play like an aggressive AD carry, and smashes that. And this week, they play Smash. Like 2 days ago, they played Smash, and he was good in some parts. He played the champions. He played the champions that he needs to play, and he got some decent performances, all the kind of stuff. And I think that's good. I think you got to get Smash some runs again with the champions that he has, and maybe Guma will come in and do some runs, and just see in the summer, not MSI, which player that they can go for and ride it out into like another Worlds performance. Because here's the thing, I think T1 are playing the long game. They're playing chess right now. Everybody else is playing checkers. T1 is playing chess. And unfortunately, the fans do not get it. Now, the same fan, if I was a sane fan, I was like, okay, they're going to put in Smash to have him play some decent champions, and Gumi usually will sit on the bench and then grind it out, get some competitiveness, and when the time comes, he will get there. So, every sports does that. That's the reality that we are right now. And, you know, that's going to be the reality that we are in right now with the whole fearless thing. But, and I said, but, to the insane T1 fans, it's not that. With the trucks and everything like that, they're seeing like benching Guma is bad for them, and it's like, unfortunately, you just can't win at this moment. It's like, these people just, there's no winning right now. Like, Gumiyushi is getting screwed over. Smash is not getting any value, and is putting the coaching staffs on edge. That it's like, they better bring success or else. And it's like, let's be honest, I don't think T1 are good enough to even win MSI. I'm just gonna say this right now. I think right now you got Hana Life Esports and Gen G as like two teams that are probably, and I say probably, go to MSI right now. That's gonna be the sentiment around the LCK. And of course, you got Worlds to look forward to, which, by the way, you won 2 times. And maybe that's going to be the end goal. That's going to be the end goal. And if Duran and Smash is going to carry your team to another World Championship, so be it. The problem is that for the Guma fans out there, they just see this as a slap in the face, a valuing markability over performance. It's like, like, I'm sorry, man. I just can't help you. I just can't help you right now. I just pretty much can't. And I just feel like there's nothing that T1 can do. It just feels like they're out of their hands. It's that you started Smash and then every Guma fan will hate you. Or you start Guma and every Smash fan will hate you, and Smash will devalue, and it feels like, it just drives me insane right now. It just drives me insane. And I did put a hot take on David's, shorts about the T1 situation. And I say this right now, that Faker is going to retire at the end of the year. Because I can bet you right now that he cannot handle a lot of this. He has been winning championships with Marin and Duke at the top lane. He managed to win championships with Marin and Duke in the top lane. I'm not sure he can handle all the chaos that's going around him with the whole 80 carry thing and the top laner thing of Duran being okay-ish in some cases, but not Zeus. I don't think he can handle being Zeus. And what does Faker have to prove? He's got nothing else to prove. He can sure win another championship and become the first ever 3-time world championship. But even then, I don't think it's going to matter that much. And the fear around many people is that once Faker leaves, the game will die out. Well, no. We still have Scout and Knight and Rookie and all these great good players. And Chovy. We still have some good players, but the problem is with Riot and everybody else is that they wanted Faker to be in the game for so long. The problem is that he's just a human being, and even human beings' minds can crack. And right now, this whole situation is causing Faker to have crackage on his brain. It's not as huge as last year, of course, but there's some crackage on his brain right now. And mental health is a huge, huge thing. And I'm just worried about his mental health with everything that's going on right now. I'm just worried about the team's mental health. The team right now. Because you've seen them, all this drama and all this chaos going around there. Their ownership is a bum, by the way. I mean, everything that's going on right now is just swirling. And in the short term, it's bad, but in the long term, I feel like if I were a coach, I will put Smash in and let it ride out until the end of the season. And if there are circumstances, I will put Gumiyushi in and let it ride out and let them compete and let them breed. Of course, the problem is that the fans don't think so. And yes, our Western brain is different from their brain, but it's just like you can't win, man. It's like no matter what people, it's like no matter what they do, it's like these fans can never be satisfied with anything. Like I may not be rich, I may not have a lot of viewership, but I'm satisfied doing content and doing all the kind of stuff for you people. Let me just pause and say, if you like the video and you like all the videos I'm doing, please like and subscribe. I'm on your X, I'm on your TikTok, I'm on, for the next 5 days, of course, or a few days, I'm on your, maybe I'm not active on Facebook that much, but I'm on your socials, man, so if you want to hit me up, just do me on my socials. I'll put them out below, but I feel like even the statement themselves, even the statement of putting Smash and Gumiyushi is absolute BS. It's like, for the team? Really? Like, I'm sorry, man. It's just, oh my god, the whole situation is a mess right now. The whole situation is a mess. And I just don't feel like T1 are good enough to win Worlds anymore. Now, if I uploaded this video and I'll be wrong by November, I will be absolutely getting egged on my face. But I just don't care anymore. I just don't. The whole locker room situation is bad. And even trying to play the long-term game is me invent my anger towards the fans. But we're in the reality that 6-man rosters have to exist in the fearless draft, or like you're nothing. Like Guma can play some champions, Smash can play some champions. Let them compete. Let them fight, for God's sakes. Instead of this whole fandom of like Smash is bad, Guma for marketing and all that stuff. Like please, no. If you want marketability, go to G2. At least they know how to do marketability. You can't even like take a little bit of logic. Like, have Korean lost their logic years ago when North Korea and South Korea kind of shake hands? Have they lost their logic? Have they lost their brains somehow? Because I think they do. Like, I think they've lost their logic a long time ago. Like, come on, man. It's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Just let Smash play, alright? Just let Smash play. Gumiyuchi should ride on the bench for a bit. Circumstances be done. Gumiyuchi can play some games. And then in the summer, you figure out your roster. And if Smash is going to be playing for the rest of the tournament, let Smash play for the rest of the tournament. If Gumiyuchi is going to play for the rest of the tournament, let Gumiyuchi play for the tournament. But I know one thing. One of them is going to leave next year. One of these persons is going to leave next year for greener pastures. And I won't blame no soul if one of these players is going to leave at the end of the year because of all of this. And if Gumiyuchi is going to be the one to leave, oh boy. You want to talk about like an absolute mess of a roster. Losing Zeus, losing Gumiyushi 1 year, probably going to lose the owner and carrier in some parts. Like, this is a whole thing is a mess. And if you're Smash, you got a young prospect player who's probably going to get picked up by maybe a European team or an LTA team, or maybe one fringe LCK team, of course. He could be a good value for some of the teams. But my God, this whole situation has been a mess from the beginning, and it's just like the T1 fans cannot think logically enough to even save themselves. It's going to cost them everything. It's going to cost them, no MSI appearance, no Worlds, no EWC championship, which is a thing right now. They're going to be left with nothing. So I said, just write this out, please. Just let Smash play, and if he does well, that'll be the end of that. But unfortunately, they don't have logic, so that's all I have. And that should conclude this whole video. It's been almost an hour long, and I want to thank everybody for sticking around and all kinds of stuff. LTA is next week. LEC is next week. LCK and LPL the same usual. And then, of course, the LTP is going to be on, like, next week, of course. So maybe a lot of news will come in. This has just been a slow weekend, of course, and not much to say, not much news, interviews and all kind of stuff. So not much to say. This is just just my flock of opinions that I have, talking about the dying breed of the LTA and the whole six-man situation and T1 thing that is, you know, a messy situation. And I just want to speak it out there. So thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe and all kinds of stuff. Have a wonderful weekend, and God bless you.